It's common knowledge that human civilization, as it stands, is not in a particularly good state. To name some of the major issues, there are enormous wealth and power disparities, harmful and maladaptive cultural elements, inefficient distribution and use of resources, destruction of ecosystems and nature, and several others. The fact of the matter is, these problems have grown to such a magnitude to where a colossal and collective amount of effort is required to rectify them. To counteract these, the UN has published 17 Sustainable Development Goals, general summaries of widespread problems and what contributes to them, ranging from climate change to violent international conflict. This presentation will focus on goal number 14, lengthily titled, Conserve and Sustainably Use the Oceans, Sea, and Marine Resources for Sustainable Development. Even this one goal is composed of many distinct parts. As examples, there is increased acidification due to CO2 uptake and the sheer volume of plastic continually flowing into the ocean. But these are not problems unique to the marine environment. Reversing greenhouse gas production and wildly cutting down on plastic use will fix them. What is unique, however, to the marine environment is the matter of overfishing. Global per capita seafood consumption reached a peak of 20.5 kilograms per year in 2019, which makes for an absurd figure when compounded with the nearly 8 billion humans alive at the time. The oceans simply cannot handle it. In order to meet this demand, commercial fisheries have caught fish in numbers that fish populations could not sustain, which has resulted in the calamitous decline in these populations and any other organisms that rely on them, such as in 1992 when North Atlantic cod fell to 1% of their historic numbers. In recent years, almost half of marine organism production for commercial use comes from aquaculture, otherwise known as fish farming. At first, this may seem like an ideal solution. Keeping populations of certain species within an isolated environment, whose numbers can be controlled according to demand, would theoretically leave natural ecosystems away from intervention. But setting aside the fact that commercial overfishing hasn't gone away, agriculture still has some unanswered questions. What do you feed the fish? Where and how do you keep them? What do you do with the fish's waste? The latter of these has an interesting answer. Most of the problems with fish wastewater is the same as with fertilizer runoff. Excessive concentrations of nitrogenous compounds, or chemicals whose reactive properties come from nitrogen atoms. If all this wastewater is simply dumped into the ocean, it will make the local waters uninhabitable to many organisms due to algae overgrowth, effectively reducing the oxygen supply that other aquatic life forms need to survive. This, however, has a solution: hydroponics, or the growth of plants within liquid mediums. This wastewater produced by artificial environments can be consumed by flora who rely on compounds such as nitrate to fuel themselves, with this purified water then being recycled into the aquaculture being used. Nevertheless, there still remain some problems. Most fish live around pHs, or hydrogen ion concentrations, from 7 to 9, but most agricultural plants grow best at pHs around 6. The fact that both the fish and the plants share a water source with competing/differing ideal conditions means one of the two will be limited if the other is accommodated for, reducing yield. Additionally, the fact that the water is constantly circulating and being cleaned means it is impossible to build up high concentrations of fish waste fertilizer, limiting the aquaponics of plants that are less nutrient intensive, such as lettuce. However, as detailed in a paper titled A New Concept for Aquaponic Systems to Improve Sustainability, Increase Productivity, and Reduce Environmental Impacts, a group of researchers in Berlin may have developed a solution. In essence, all it amounts to is separating the fish water cycle and the plant water cycle into two discrete circulations, with fish water being pumped intentionally into the plant circulation, evaporated water being collected and reintroduced into the fish circulation, and both cycles being monitored and adjusted for optimal conditions. This system resulted in decreased water usage, more fish being produced per kilogram of feed, good plant production, and on top of all that, the CO2 produced by the fish was immediately used by the plants, reducing emissions. As systems like these are combined with renewable energy, efficient land use, and high-end greenhouses, it would be possible to produce fish without any measurable impact on the environment whatsoever. Overfishing could stop completely and nitrogenous waste could stop being added to the oceans. Even with the equation of seafood production appearing totally solved, there is still one final issue: profits. Complicated and deliberate systems like these require lots of specialized infrastructure and trained individuals to operate, and they cannot compete with commercial fishing in terms of price and economy. Assuming businesses will always take the cheaper, easier option, Why would they bother with a sensitive high-maintenance aquaponics facility when they can just keep doing what they've done for decades and continue to make profit? For this reason, societal and governmental action will need to occur to forcibly reduce commercial fishing to acceptable levels while simultaneously incentivizing the development of aquaponics and similar technologies. If this is done, it may be possible to completely fulfill the UN's 14th goal.